people who are infected, if they do happen to show symptoms, which not all people do, can be infectious for 2 weeks before they show symptoms and up to 5 weeks afterwards. So if you have cold symptoms, you really do need to know, and other people around you need to know, if you have coronavirus. Because if you have a normal cold, you can go back to work when you stop showing symptoms, or go outside and do basically like anything where you interact with other people. Not only go to work, but if you have coronavirus, you have to stay inside until you test negative. You can't just tell people, we think you have coronavirus, but we're not sure. Stay inside your house until you stop showing symptoms. Because if they do have coronavirus, if they leave their house once they stop showing symptoms, they can be infectious for 2, 3, 4, or even 5 or more weeks, which can cause other people to be deathly ill.
Hey Adrienne, let's just use the story on the coronavirus.
This is NBC Nightly News with Jose Diaz-Balart. Good evening. We begin with breaking news. The president's coronavirus task force is promising help is on the way for healthcare workers, many struggling without enough masks, gloves, gowns, and life-saving ventilators. But the supplies are running out. Where will they all come from? And important new information about getting tested for the virus as cases in the U.S. surged to nearly 22,000. The White House now saying not everyone will get one, as yet another state announces drastic measures to stop the spread in the U.S. We begin tonight with Aaron McLaughlin in Los Angeles.
Tonight, on the front lines of the battle against the coronavirus, a stark warning from public health officials in New York. Immediately stop testing non-hospitalized patients for COVID-19.
What?
Adding patients with symptoms not requiring hospitalization should stay home.
Not every single person in the United States needs to get tested.
Officials point to a lack of medical supplies, saying healthcare resources must be saved to treat the sickest patients.
Stop. Stop. I can't watch this anymore. Just stop. I didn't say stop and leave. I didn't say stop, drop, and roll. I said stop playing the video. Because that is like completely and utterly ridiculous, people. 1 second, people. They don't need to test less people for coronavirus. They don't need to test only deathly ill, hospitalized people for coronavirus and tell people who are likely infected to just stay at home. They need to test everybody who may possibly be infected for coronavirus. And if they are infected, they need to tell them to not only stay at home, but not to go outside of their home until they are tested again and test negative. If they want to stop the spread of coronavirus, they must make sure that every single doctor and hospital in the United States of America has enough protective equipment and enough tests that they can test everybody. People who are infected, if they do happen to show symptoms, which not all people do, can be infectious for 2 weeks before they show symptoms and up to 5 weeks afterwards. So if you have cold symptoms, you really do need to know, and other people around you need to know, if you have coronavirus. Because if you have a normal cold, you can go back to work when you stop showing symptoms, or go outside and do basically like anything where you interact with other people. Not only go to work, but if you have coronavirus, you have to stay inside until you test negative. You can't just tell people, we think you have coronavirus, but we're not sure. Stay inside your house until you stop showing symptoms. Because if they do have coronavirus, if they leave their house once they stop showing symptoms, they can be infectious for 2, 3, 4, or even 5 or more weeks, which can cause other people to be deathly ill. So it is completely and utterly preposterous and utterly idiotic and utterly irresponsible of our government to not make sure that people have access to these tests, and to not make sure that the medical professionals have access to the protective gear that they need. So I am asking everybody to please share this urgent message right now. We need more testing for coronavirus, not less, in the United States of America. This is an urgent message to the world. If America tests less people, then more people will get infected, and the infection will continue to spread undetected. This will make America like basically a danger to the entire world. Because if Americans are infected and nobody knows who's infected or not because nobody can be tested, then any American could potentially be infected and spread the infection to somebody else in another country if they leave the country. And right now, Americans are only allowed to leave the country for essential business. But what if an American does that and they're infected? People of the world, America must increase, not decrease, the number of people they test for coronavirus, or we will be a danger to the world. Do you hear that sound? That is the sound of an airplane flying over my house, helping to emphasize my point. Planes are still flying around, not only within America, but from America to other countries in the world, and to America from other countries in the world. I am now going to end this video by asking you to like this video, share this video, watch my other videos, and subscribe to my channel, and help me out to make more videos by donating money to me on Patreon and other sites, and ordering supplies for me that I desperately need off of my Amazon wishlist for me. Bye, people. And here, unfortunately, is an article that proves my point. Man dies after experiencing flu-like symptoms. Widow says he was never tested for coronavirus. He went to an airport, talked to a doctor over the phone, and ultimately went to an urgent care facility. They wouldn't test him for coronavirus because he hadn't traveled outside of the country, despite the fact that he was in an airport that people who have traveled outside of the country go through, and somebody had coughed on him. They said the doctor would call him back. The doctor never called him back, and his wife found him dead. She's now self-quarantined and waiting for her test results for the coronavirus. This article proves my point that patients with even the most mild symptoms should get tested for the coronavirus, because now that urgent care facility he went to is contaminated. They probably put him in the waiting room with all of the other patients. All of the patients are potentially exposed. All of the doctors, nurses, all of the secretaries that work in the office are potentially exposed. And people who came into the office later on that day, or even in the next few days, are potentially exposed. The family members of the people who work there are potentially exposed. People who work at grocery stores or any other business that this guy and his wife went into are potentially exposed. If they had tested him, they could have potentially prevented hundreds or even thousands of people from being infected, but they didn't. And not only are a bunch of other people potentially infected, but he died. The guy died. And that's just, like, terrible. And that's what's going to happen if they don't test everybody with even the most mild symptoms. More people will die. And the hospital won't even do an autopsy, so the widow, who's having paranoid anxiety attacks that she herself will die because she has a runny nose, will have to pay for the autopsy herself. Yuck. I'm ending this video for real now this time, people. Share this video immediately because it is urgent. Bye, people.